And welcome back to the Lincoln Playbook. We're back again for the 2015 season. I'm in with head coach Brad Wallace of the Lincoln Golden Bears. We'll dive into the Week 1 game against Pell City in a bit. But first, Coach, this is your third year with the Lincoln Golden Bears. Talk about everything that goes into opening up a season and everything in the offseason, and then for you personally going into your third year.
Well, I mean, our offseason started the week after our last ball game, and We've had a bunch of good kids this year that really bought into working out and strength training, and we had a tough summer. Our summer workout and conditioning program this summer was, let's get ourselves in shape.
Right.
Let's not have to worry about that when we get to the season. And we set a precedent on what we were going to do during the summertime to get ourselves prepared. We worked on us as a team in June, and we worked on our football stuff in July. And I mean, it's one of those deals where we're trying to. We've got a bunch of young. It's not really young guys. It's guys that have been sitting in backup roles that we're trying to get ready to start the games now. And we got a bunch of seniors that have been in those backup roles.
Right, right. When you guys start the season, you always look at the entire schedule. Obviously, you don't want to jump ahead, but Pell City was one of those teams where it's a big 6A opponent. It's a good marquee game. Talk about playing that game in that environment really did for you guys heading into season 1.
Well, it always gives you a great battle. I mean, you're going to feel a playoff atmosphere right at the beginning of the season. Kids are going to know what they've got to work for throughout the season. Pell City's a really good fundamental football team this year, and I'm very impressed with them. And it makes our kids understand where we've got to get to, what steps we've got to make to get by game 10.
Absolutely. This is your third season, as we just talked about. For you personally, I know that first year was just making sure everybody kind of understood the culture, and then the second year was kind of implementing it. Do you find it now that everybody knows basically what the standards are and trying to live up to those each year?
Well, they know where I want them, and I mean, my standards always go a little bit higher every year.
Right.
And because, I mean, I've got a big poster of the '99 football team. You know that we were runner-up that year for the state. We've never won a state championship at Lincoln. And I keep that in our practice facility where we can all see it in the weight room. And I'm always preaching to them, hey, it's time for us to get one up there.
Right.
And but that being my third year with these kids, I mean, they understand it. They understand when Coach Wallace is not going to put up with anything today, and we're going to make sure that we're doing the right things. And that's one of our main deals that we've got to do going into this week is correct and work on fundamentals.
Absolutely. Week 1 was at Pell City. You'll see the highlights of that game coming up next here on the Lincoln Playbook. But first, we want to thank our many sponsors on this show. One of them is Lee McLean over at Luxury Auto Parts. You can find them at www.luxuryautoparts.com. Also, insurancedirectautos.com. Give them a call at 205-763-1084 or 1-888-589-PARTS. They've been in business for over 20 years in the car business. They sell rebuildable wrecks. They have any part you need, a 50-acre park yard. Go visit Lee McLean and the fine folks at Luxury Auto Parts. First half highlights of Lincoln and Pell City coming up next. Week 1 of the season had the Lincoln Golden Bears in Pell City to take on the 6A Panthers of Pell City High School. Talk about, Coach, some of the things you wanted to see your team do well to start the season.
I want to see our kids come out and be physical with Pell City, to be honest with you. I mean, one thing that we've got to do is we've got to get used to seeing bigger kids across from us. We're not the most as a team, we don't have the size like most people do.
Right.
But we've got a bunch of good kids that try real hard to do the right things.
Exactly. And Pell City looked like a really, really fast team.
They are. They're real fast, and I'm gonna be honest with you, their offensive line was very impressive to me. A bunch of big kids that could move, and they got on our second level pretty good, and it opened up a lot of their run game for them.
Seems like Zay Caldwell seemingly gets better and better every year and more comfortable with that role at quarterback.
He does, and I mean he's he got a little frustrated the other night, but he brought himself back up, and he's one of those team guys, and anything that'll help the team out, that's Zay Caldwell, and so he's going to try each week to do his best job. We give him an option on punt later on in this game. You'll see him. He does a great job with the decision that he makes.
Mm-hmm. And we saw just a minute ago the turnover, another good defensive play here. Talk about the back end of your secondary.
Oh, yeah. Devontae Whiteside last year, he's picked up where he left off last year. He had 8 interceptions last year. He got his first pick in the first ball game, and so we're expecting a lot of great things from him at that position. He does a great job setting everybody up. Our weak safety and strong safety are both brand new. We've got L.J. Carmichael and Zeke Morgan playing at our weak safety.
Right.
And we're trying to get kids that have been in backup roles, trying to get them comfortable in a game.
Absolutely. And there was a turnover that you guys had. To me, it spoke to the guys trying to make some plays. It really spoke to the guys being aggressive, and I feel like if you're going to make a mistake, being aggressive and making those mistakes is what you would want.
That's it. And I mean, we weren't fundamentally sound the other night, and that's one of our main problems. It's a great catch by Weston Perry right there, but we weren't fundamentally sound, and it's a struggle with me, and I mean especially with I mean, I'm not being negative on the rule changes for the summer, but you take out a little bit of your contact and you take out a little bit of your tackling, and then you wind up having to work with your back to the wall a little bit.
Absolutely. We saw just an amazing play between Zay Caldwell and getting that ball out there and keeping those chains moving.
Oh, he's going to find a way, and that's the one thing that I've told him. I said, Zay, you'll always find a way. L.J. Carmichael at running back, man, he's going to be one of our workhorses this year. We're going to try to feature him a lot more this week especially, and so I plan to see a lot of things come out of him this year.
It was a really good drive here. You know, you got the chains moving into the second quarter, and you put one in. And Pell City is one of those teams that they struck quickly on the way back, and it was really kind of tussle there in the second quarter.
It was, and I mean, the one thing that I did get positive out of this is in the second quarter we did go down to score, and our kids never dropped their heads, and they kept fighting with it, and that's one of the things that I kept seeing out of our kids is, hey, let's keep working, don't give up, don't quit, and keep fighting for me the whole ball game, and we'll correct our mistakes.
Absolutely, and there's another great catch, and it seems like guys are starting to understand their roles and the way they can help this team win ball games.
That's it. That's exactly right. And I mean, we're about 1 or 2 blocks away. We're about I mean, it's just if you watch our end zone copy of the tape, and you're sitting there and you're like, man, it's just 1 or 2 blocks. Mm-hmm. It's 1 or 2 tackles.
Right.
It's maybe if we took one step further on this coverage, I mean, we're about that close to being a great football team.
Absolutely, and there you see the fifth touchdown by the Pell City Panthers. There's your halftime score, 35-7. But you talked about it, Coach. It seemed like it wasn't these huge gaping things. It was shoring up 1 or 2 things on the defensive side, shoring up 1 or 2 things on the offensive side, stopping big plays and making big plays were the finite difference.
That's it. And I mean, our main deal, and I've said it from the get-go, I'll never give up on the team.
Right.
And I told them that after. I've always told them I love them to death like they're my sons, but we got to get to work. And
right.
you may hear me get on you a little bit harder this week.
Right.
And it's not because I don't love you. It's not that I don't want you to be one of my players. I want us to be successful as a football team by the end of this season.
Absolutely. You talked about wanting to see the team play physical. You talked about their offensive line. Anything surprise you about them, about Pell City?
I tell you what, their turnover ratio got a lot better from last year. They fumbled a lot on going into the end zone, mm-hmm. which it could have been this score that we've got last year. But they shored up a lot of things that way. Pell City is going to be a pretty dominant team, I think, in 6A this year.
Right. It's a rivalry game. I mean, you guys are less than 15 miles away from each other.
Yeah,
talk about that aspect
me and Coach Dave Perry laughed about that when I say rivalry. It's because I've got a bunch of kids that have relatives that live in Pell City.
Sure. Yeah.
And ever since June, that's all I've heard is, hey, my cousin over in Pell City texted me this the other day, and they'll show it to me. But it's one of those games the kids like to play, and I'm glad we got to do it these last 2 years, and hopefully we can do it again later on.
Absolutely. Coming up next here on the Lincoln Playbook, we'll take a look at second half highlights of Lincoln Pell City. Later in the show, we'll look ahead to their second week and as well as region play. But first, right now, take a listen to the first performance of the season from the Lincoln Golden Bear Marching Band. Welcome back to the Lincoln Playbook, second half highlights of the Golden Bears game against Pell City. And Coach, it seemed like a lot of the defensive adjustments you guys made at halftime seemed to work there in the second half.
Yeah, they did, and our guys came out and they fought their tail off in the second half. I challenged them at halftime. I said, guys, the only one thing that I don't want to see about this football team is I don't want to see any negative. I don't want to see us back down, and I don't want to see us get to the point that we're not playing hard, and even though we're down.
Right.
And I said, let's go out there and let's see how many points we can put up there. All right, let's go out there and finish the ball game. Let's finish it strong, and we'll take what we can out of this ball game and work for next week. And that was the challenge at halftime.
Coaches always talk about taking positives and negatives and making everything, whether they go your way or not, turn into a positive. It seems like your guys did that.
They did, and we changed. We didn't change our offense. We've had this package in throughout the season, beginning of camp, and our guys really bought into it with our I formation stuff. And we may lean a little bit more on that right now with our defense struggling in some places, and slow the game down a little bit, and let our guys get out there and run the ball as feature number one, and maybe we can put our other quarterback in and feature Zay at the wide receiver this week.
Right. Coaches always talk about trying to develop their scheme around their personnel, and it seems to me that whether you guys go shotgun or whether you guys go I formation, you guys can make plays really on both ends and be versatile.
They can, and with our power run game with L.J. Carmichael right here, he's just a phenomenal back. You don't see many backs that are 6'2",
right,
195 coming out of high school.
Yeah.
And the good thing about it is I have him another year after this. So, but he's got great vision as he comes through. He runs the ball hard. He's almost like a jackhammer when he comes through, and he hits linebackers. They don't just bring him down the first shot. It takes a little bit for him to come down.
You see your final score there, 51-20, but in the second half, it really seemed like whenever you guys started getting rolling, there was a lot of momentum and a lot of juice there and a lot to build on going into next week.
There is, and I was down and out all Saturday thinking about this ball game, and after watching tape, but everything's correctable. It's not like we can we're just going to trash the season.
Right.
Everything's correctable. We just got to put our hard hats on and get back to work this week and get ready for this next game.
We saw guys like Zay. We saw guys like L.J. Carmichael make some plays. Talk about some other guys that after you watched the tape, you saw make some plays there.
Well, you had Devontae Whiteside, of course, on the defensive side of the ball. Quinn Carter did a good job out at receiver blocking, and there's so many. We've got so much skill, speed that it's unreal. We just got to get the ball in their hands, and we've got to get them comfortable with what they're doing, because I think a little bit of it is timidness with our offense right now and on our defense. I don't think we're playing as fast as we can because we're not fully comfortable where we're at.
Right. From a scheme standpoint, as you juxtapose that to the dynamic of this team, do you see the team getting more comfortable in certain areas as in others and scheming that towards your specific opponent? Or is it more just throwing the entire gauntlet out there and seeing what works?
Well, we're not going to, and I talked to my offense coordinator the other day when we came in and met. But I told him, I said, man, let's go back and let's simplify this thing.
Right.
Let's figure out what we do best. Let's make these guys comfortable and let them play. And let's take a lot of pressure off of them and let them make plays.
Right.
And I think that's what we're going to do offensively this week. Defensively, we've got to fundamentals. Our main problem defensively right now is fundamentals. We've got to tackle better. We've got to quit reaching and grabbing. I always like those strong tackles where your face mask is in the chest and your arms are wrapped around.
Right.
You don't get it every time, but we got to get more physical that way.
Right. The old cliche in football is week 1 to week 2 is where you see the biggest eye-popping improvement. Talk about some of the things that you want to see this team get better at here in week 2.
I just want to see us be around the ball more defensively. That was one thing in the staff meeting. I told them, I said, we've got to find ways to get these guys around the football, and they've got to be there at all times, and it can't be one play where we're dominant on a play, and then the next play we back off. We've got to be dominant every play, and we got to get some more consistency there. Offensively, we just got to stay on our blocks. I mean, that's our main thing on offense. I mean, during our Jamboree game, we did a real good job with our offense, and we ran the ball very well. And I think we came out in this ball game, and I thought we were a little complacent with from the Jamboree to our first ball game.
Absolutely. As we go to break here, we take a look at the week ahead, and the week ahead is the first region game for you guys. The defending region champion Lincoln Golden Bears will try to defend that region championship and win a second back-to-back region title for the first time in a long time. We'll let you know the details on that. One of our other fine sponsors of this program here, the Lincoln Playbook, is the Lincoln Booster Club. They meet every Monday at 6:30 at First State Bank is where they meet this year. First State Bank is where they will meet this year. For more information on how you can support Lincoln Athletics, give them a call at 256-238-2402. Monday, 6:30, First State Bank, Lincoln Booster Club. They support all sports at Lincoln High School. Back with more with Coach Wallace next here on the Lincoln Playbook. Final segment here on the Lincoln Playbook. Garrett Mathangani joined in by the head coach of the Lincoln Bulldogs, Brad Wallace. And Coach, week number 2, first week of region play. You're the defending region champions. Does any part of last year, any part of the region championship enter this season, or is it a fresh start, or is it a little mixture of both?
Well, it's always a challenge to the kids every year. We don't talk about playoffs. I mean, one of the first step is we want to try to win a region title. And then that'll take care of itself when we go to the playoffs. And so we're always preaching that every year, each year that I've been at Lincoln. And that's our main goal. Another goal that we've got this year, we've got to win our non-region games.
Right.
And so we're working for 2 goals right now, and hopefully that everything starts. I mean, we're trying to make this a progress and taking steps each week. And we, like you said a while ago, we want to take that week 1 to week 2 and make that major change.
Absolutely. The week 2 opponent is St. Clair County. You saw those guys last year when the regions realigned. Now you have them again this year. Talk about what you expect out of the Saints.
Well, they've got 2 tough running backs in the backfield right now, and I could spit their name out if I had it on my sheet, but it's number 9 and number 27. They feature them in the backfield out of their zone read stuff, and they're very impressive with their offensive side of the ball. Their quarterback runs the ball very well. It's very close to Zay Caldwell, so we've got to do a good job containing him. Defensively, offensively, they give us a 4-3 defense, and they're a lot better than they were last year. I mean, Coach Smith has done a great job with those guys over there. We've got to go out and we've got to play a great football game this week. Absolutely.
Last year, a dominating victory, 53-7 at your place. Talk about now going into their place for the second straight road game in a hostile environment.
Well, I mean, last year it was kind of like what you said. Week 1 to week 2 we got better. Week 1 to week 2 last year we got really good.
Right.
And our guys came out with a great mentality and went out and took care of the ball game. And that's kind of like what we've got to do with our team this year. We've got to go take care of it, and we've got to get us a win. We've got to heal some wounds up with a win, and that always helps out a great deal. But it's going to be a challenge this week.
Absolutely. You mentioned that 99 team that came runner-up in the state. That was the era where the last back-to-back region championship was, in the 99 and 2000, and it's been a while. And so is that one of those positive challenges, another positive challenge, as well as that 99 season that you take to this year?
Yeah, that's another challenge that we'll have, and I'm glad you told me that. I really didn't know, and I didn't realize it had been that long,
right,
to be honest with you. And it's good that that'll give our kids something to look forward to and something to work for this year, and something to be proud of, hopefully by the end of the season.
Right, and I guess the team kind of understands that they know they're the hunted, and this is that first opponent that wants to get revenge on you guys.
That's it, and our region is so tough this year. I mean, the more I look back on it, as we scouted them last year, every team had young players.
Right.
I mean, all the way through. I think us and Mortimer Jordan were kind of the veteran group, and now everybody's got a veteran group.
Right.
So it's going to be a week in, week out. It's going to be a tough ball game each week.
Some of the things that you want to improve on from a tangible standpoint, take the offense first and then go to the defense. Some of the things that you want to see in practice that shows up on film when you grade that film this time next week.
Offensively, we've got to maintain blocks. I mean, that was one of our Achilles the other night. Was we just didn't stay on our blocks.
Right.
There were opportunities where we had holes. If it was like one or two people would have finished their job. And then defensively, we've got to learn to tackle. I mean, I've been saying it for 2 weeks.
Right.
I preached it in our staff meeting rooms. I preached it on our field. I mean, you just can't arm tackle. I mean, that's just not what wins ball games week in, week out. You got to have sure tackles, and it doesn't matter if they run over you, if whatever happens. As long as you get the body down, that's what we're working for.
Right.
And we've got a gang tackle too. I don't see us running to the ball like we should be right now.
Absolutely, Coach. Hopefully all those things will improve next week. It'll show up on the film.
Yes, sir.
We'll be here to talk about it on the Lincoln Playbook. For Coach Brad Wallace, I'm Gerhard Mathangani. Go out and support the Lincoln Golden Bears at St. Clair Stadium in the first region game of the 2015 season as Lincoln hits the road in week 2. We'll be back to break it all down next week. Until then, thanks and goodbye.